And we are live with the Brown Bag Business Chat. I have my wonderful guest, Debra Jason, who's here to talk to us about LinkedIn. And it seems like I'm just the host now at this point, Adam Fout, the content writer and social media manager of Blue Steel Solutions. And Debra and I have connected a little while back on social media, and she is a copywriter extraordinaire, has a book and everything. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Debra, and introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, why you do it, etc.
I'm happy to do that. Thanks for having me here today,
Absolutely.
Adam, and thanks for everybody for tuning in. I am, let's see, how do I describe myself? For 27 years now, I've had my own business called The Right Direction, W-R-I-T-E, because I have been a freelance direct response copywriter. All through that career, I have always used speaking as a way to market my business. And in the last 2-3 years, I have now been pursuing a professional speaking career. Oh. So I go out and what I do is I help independent business professionals, people that want to increase their visibility. I help them fast forward their marketing skills so that they can increase that visibility, attract a steady stream of happy clients, and create a lifestyle. To me, lifestyle is really important. And so I talk about creating a lifestyle that allows them flexibility and freedom and fun to do what they love.
Well, that's awesome. I really like the lifestyle part of it. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of being an entrepreneur is you can choose the lifestyle you want.
This is true, and that's why many of us do it, is because we want to be our own boss. And I find actually sometimes we're a little bit harder on ourselves than any boss ever was. But Absolutely. You know what? That's our choice.
And you also have a book, right? Millionaire Marketing on a Shoestring Budget. Maybe you have it there, hopefully, to show the viewers. But
yes,
oh, there it is. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
About the book?
Yeah.
After 9/11, a lot of my clients started to, well, didn't start to, they got scared. Mm-hmm. And what they started to do was cut back on their marketing.
Yeah.
And that was a point in time when I said, you know, when things get rough, and the reason they were cutting back is they were afraid to spend money. So what I did was guide them in the fact that they could still get their message out there and do it cost effectively. It didn't have to cost $5 million for a Super Bowl commercial. So that's how Millionaire Marketing on a Shoestring Budget came about. It was not just online ways, it was also offline ways, because actually at that time, the internet was just starting to roll. And so it talks about how you can get out there and create top of mind awareness and get exposure for your business. And so the more I do speaking, the more it became time and people started to say to me, you need a book, you need a book. So the book came out last year, and it shares my 27 years of experience in how I got my message out there. Because when I started, I didn't have a marketing background. And so I knew I had to get my message out there in a big way to build my business. So I share proven strategies that I've used. So it's not just theory, it's practical, real life business building strategies that I put into place.
That's nice. We sure get a lot of theory, it seems, on places like Twitter. So it's good to have some experience backing that up. You know, it's funny you mentioned 9/11. I was realizing the other day there's like a whole generation that has grown up and doesn't remember that at all. I was feeling very old at the time. I remember the fear, and it wasn't just fear for individuals. It reverberated throughout the business world.
Yeah. Yes, that was very true. You know, people were scared, and rightfully so. So I was happy to find ways to help them to at least keep their message out there, because whether it's something like that or a down economy, you know, in 2008 when things started to get a little rough, you still need to be out there and visible, because what happens is when you are and things start to improve, then people remember you because you've had that top of mind awareness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're also a LinkedIn expert, right? And that's why we have you here today. That's what everyone's excited for, is to talk about LinkedIn. So, tell us a little bit about LinkedIn in general. How long have you been using LinkedIn? Did you get on right away, or did you come to it a little bit later?
No, actually, I wasn't an early adopter.
Okay.
I was one of those people, like many people I speak to, who kept getting LinkedIn invitations and kept saying, what is this? I don't get it. What is this? And finally, after getting several, I reached out to one of my colleagues and I said, okay, tell me about this and tell me why I should be doing it. And so at that point in time, LinkedIn had something called questions and answers.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he would get in and answer people's questions.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, he started getting business.
Oh, wow.
So that was enough for me to say, okay, it converts into business. I should be there.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's when I jumped on the LinkedIn bandwagon. And you know what? I learned by doing, and then I learned by other people who go out there and speak about the topic. And it's the largest business network out there. So it's really an important place for people to be for networking, for building relationships, which is really what my message is about.
Yeah. And I think people don't quite realize it, but LinkedIn is also, it's publicly traded. It's worth quite a bit of money. So it's not just floating out there. This is something that's established and that has a real financial backing to it. So I think that's important to keep in mind. Okay.
Well,
so,
and the people.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please.
I was going to say that the people that are on LinkedIn are also, people with six-figure incomes. They're Fortune 500 executives.
Yeah.
They're people that, come from good backgrounds that are great prospects, but they're also good referral resources. So It's a wonderful place to be, to connect with people.
Yeah, I mean, I am hard pressed to think of another place where you can find a CEO of a company and actually be able to form a relationship with them easily, without as much effort as it would take. I mean, imagine just walking into their building and say, "Can I talk to the CEO? I just want to hang out with them for a little bit." So, okay, so let's talk about the value of LinkedIn, because I think, there's LinkedIn pages for businesses, but we're talking about an individual LinkedIn profile. And I think it's easy to think, okay, I'm in a business, I need to kind of do one or the other. So what is the value of LinkedIn for small business owners just generally?
So for me, as I mentioned earlier, it's about connecting with people.
Right.
It's really about building and nurturing relationships. And when I speak about LinkedIn, I really focus on personal profiles. Having company pages is important. I don't have a company page because really what happens is people want to reach out one-to-one.
Yeah.
So when they go to your personal profile, they want to connect with you.
Yeah.
It's imagine like going to a company's website. If it just has a contact form, you're thinking, okay, who's that going to?
Yeah.
Is somebody really going to respond to me or not? So I think most of the activity on LinkedIn really happens on the personal profiles. And that's why it's really important for people to have what I call a robust profile. And we can talk about that some more.
Yes, I like that term, robust. Tell me more about robust. How do we make a robust profile?
So a robust profile means a couple of things. First, you need to sit down and determine what are the keyword phrases somebody might use to search someone like you. And the way that I put it with people is, okay, if I didn't know Adam and I didn't know your company, Blue Steel Solutions, what would I be searching? Because like Google, LinkedIn has a search function. So think about the keyword phrases and specific ones that might describe who you are and what you do. Then, when you go to do your profile, keep those keywords in mind because there are 6 places where you can put those keyword phrases that will help you optimize your profile. So, and that's one thing that I talk about in my book is what are those 6 key places? We can go over it very quickly.
Yeah,
but
you've
keep
got
that in mind.
Now, I want to know those 6 places.
Buy the book.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's on the list.
Well, one of the questions I know you had is, when someone fills out a profile, should they be filling out every section? And my answer is yes. So when you think about those 6 key places, the first place to keep in mind is what they call your professional headline, which is the headline is right under your name. So if you want, we can go screen share and I could show you on a LinkedIn profile what the headline is.
Sure, that'd be great.
So let's click here. And
we'll see if the Googles will cooperate with us today. They've been a little unruly so far.
So if I click on this, do you see my screen?
Yes, yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. So I'm going to go to my profile. And right under my name, you'll see it says professional speaker, author, copywriting services, direct response copywriter, marketing and writing with heart, not hype. That is your professional headline.
Okay.
Okay. And you have 120 characters there. So take advantage of those 120 characters and use them. A lot of people make the mistake of doing this. They put down owner at ABC company.
Uh-oh.
Chances are, you know, unless maybe you're a company looking to buy a company, you probably are not searching owner. And unless ABC company is really well known, like IBM or Nike, chances are people aren't searching that company name.
Right.
So think of what describes you, how you help people, what the keyword phrase is, and use that in your professional headline.
Okay. And you've still got your screen share up, so we're double sharing myself and you. I love seeing more of myself, I gotta say, but you can hit that stop button up there at the top.
Okay.
There we go.
So let's stop that. Okay.
So that
technology
is really important because I think it's easy because that will auto-populate with the jobs that you've had in the past, right? If you don't go in there and change it automatically. Is that correct?
Well, you have to go change it. Yeah, it doesn't just fill, you know, that doesn't fill in automatically. So you have to go into your profile and create your professional headline.
Right.
Then the next place you have to go, and this, by the way, is one of the biggest mistakes people make.
Oh yeah.
Is they don't fill out the summary section.
Okay.
The summary section is probably the most important section because it's really where you share a little bit more of who you are, your personality, but also how you help people.
Yeah.
And you write it in the first person. And you use keyword phrases. Now, keep in mind, everybody who's listening, it's not about stuffing keywords in there.
Yeah.
It's about writing naturally where it makes sense for you to have those keywords.
So you're telling me I can't put in a bunch of keywords in white text and hope that the Googles will find it?
Yeah. We want to be genuine and authentic and keep it legitimate. So keep in mind that now we've talked about your summary and your professional headline. So those are two of the places to put keyword phrases.
Okay.
Another place is to go into your experience, and you have two more places, your current experience and your past experience.
Okay.
Now, many people, when they go to their experience, they just type in, I'm a virtual assistant at the ABC company. They put the years that they're working there. But you have a description field.
Yeah.
So in your experience, first make that title of what you're doing descriptive and use a keyword phrase, and then use the description field to describe what you're doing. And again, if it's appropriate, put the keyword phrase in there. And good to do that in your current experience and your past experience. Now, some people say to me, well, what if my past experience has nothing to do with my current experience? You know, look and see if you can make a connection with it, if it makes sense. So for example, one person I work with, I do one-on-one consulting with people on their profiles. And this gentleman had worked in the hospitality business. And now he was in the moving business, relocating people. But he was relocating people who were working for corporations. So we talked, and it came out that, you know, in the hospitality business, his goal was to have great customer service, to find out what the customers needed and wanted and to provide it. So in the moving business, that was the same thing. If he was going to help you move from New York to Atlanta because you're moving for a corporation, the important thing was customer service. What do you want, need? How do I make this move easier? So we were able to tie that in, his current experience and his past. So now you have 4 places to put your keyword phrases. You have your professional headline, your summary, your current experience, and your past experience. Then let me ask you this question, Adam.
Yes.
A lot of people, when I'm speaking and I mention endorsements,
Yes.
they go, I get endorsements for things that I'm not even wanting endorsements for.
Yeah.
So go to your endorsements, because you can fill that in. You can put the skills in that you want to be endorsed for, and you can do it by using keyword phrases.
Okay. Do you feel like there's value in those endorsements? Do people look at a profile with a lot of endorsements and say, okay, this is
what?
legitimate?
The value probably, some people probably do. I can't say for sure, but the value comes in the fact that LinkedIn pays attention to it.
Ah, okay.
So if you are, for example, searching LinkedIn, they look at relevancy, just like Google looks at relevancy. Yeah. And so if you've been endorsed a lot for specific skills, that's what's one of the things. I don't know the algorithms, so I can't really say for sure, but I do know that they pay attention to it. So it's important to have them, but it's important to make sure you're getting them for skills that make sense for you. Right.
So you don't want to throw in a bunch of random words that have nothing to do with what you're offering. Right. Yeah. Okay.
And to tell you the truth, sometimes when somebody endorses you, they can insert their own phrase they want.
Oh, really?
Because you have probably seen this. You go to LinkedIn and a box sometimes pops up and says, hey, do you want to endorse Debra Jason? And sometimes people just click it.
Yeah.
And other times people go, well, no, I think maybe I already endorsed her for speaking, but now I want to endorse her for being a good Google Hangout guest.
Copywriter. There you go.
Yeah. Well, actually, maybe somebody actually, I think, wrote an inspiring speaker, which was really nice, but I have one endorsement for that. So click on public speaking or professional speaking.
Yeah.
So the thing to remember is, if somebody endorses you, you can go in and delete that.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
You have up to, I think it's 50 skills you can put in there. Now, you want to try to narrow it down so that when somebody does come, that you're getting the endorsements for things that you want to be endorsed for. But yes, as frustrating as it might be for some of us, it does have some meaning to LinkedIn. And so if people go and they look at what you're doing and they see you've got 99 plus endorsements for a skill, that also helps you build your credibility. So it's not a bad thing.
Absolutely. So what are some other common mistakes that people make on their LinkedIn profiles?
Well, let me show you. Let's screen share again. One of the most common mistakes, there's two that I like to share, but this one's fun. So we'll do this first.
Well, I like fun. We like fun around here. I said we love fun around here.
Fun is good. Yeah. So one of the most common mistakes people make is they don't put a professional photo up.
Okay.
So they've got something that looks like this, a guy in glasses, that's me on a heart.
You're going to have to click on the tab on your, to link the LinkedIn tab in order to pull that up. It's just showing my face again.
How's that? Do you see it now?
You just got to click over there. But no, it's just showing me right now, which is fine. I mean, I love more of me is okay. I'm all right with that.
More of you is okay. Let's see. Well, I'm not sure why it's not showing up.
Yeah, you've got the Hangout. That's okay. So we can just talk about it. So tell me.
We'll talk about it. So one of the things is people don't put up a professional photo.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is it doesn't have to necessarily be a professional photographer who takes your photo, but have it look professional. So put on some nice clothes, stand in front of a nice setting, and smile.
Yeah.
Don't be there with your sunglasses on. It's not the kitten, puppy, bacon photos. It's a business network.
Yeah.
But the important thing to keep in mind as well is when you have a photo, it increases your views on LinkedIn 14 times. And that statistic comes from LinkedIn. So having a photo is really important.
And it just seems more legitimate. I mean, when you see a profile that has no picture, you're like, okay, who is this person?
Yes. And actually one time, and every so often I get requests to connect and there isn't a photo.
Yeah.
And so I look at the person's profile, and I see whether it's filled out or not.
Right.
One time I got a request to connect and it was a baby photo. you know. And so if I could show you my slides, I would show you the baby photo, but I'm not sure why we can't pull it up. But yeah, it was a baby photo, and there was very little on the person's profile.
Yeah.
And so I didn't accept. But one thing I do, and everybody can do this, is you can reply but not accept.
Yeah.
So first thing, when you get those invitations, this is another mistake. So let me step back a bit.
Sure.
Another big mistake people make is sending out a request to connect and not personalizing it.
Okay.
They just use generic. LinkedIn has a generic invite. So how many times have you opened it up and it says,
yeah,
hi, I'd like to add you to my professional network.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can
oh,
tell right away
I
if
don't know
you've been on there. Yeah, who are you? I know that.
Know it. Or you may not know them well.
Yeah.
And so what I tell people is don't ignore it. Go to that profile first. Check it out, because it could be a good lead. It could be a good referral resource. You can maybe see that you've got 10 or 15 or 20 connections in common.
Yeah.
So check out that person first and see, okay, is this a good connection? Yeah. And if it is, before you accept, and this is what I do, what I suggest, before you accept, you can reply but not accept.
Okay.
And that might be something we want to try to screen share, because it's a little how to do that. But you can reply and not accept and say, Adam, thanks so much for your invitation. But I'm curious, were you referred to me by somebody?
Yeah.
Did you hear me speak somewhere? Or were you just searching LinkedIn?
Yeah.
And then I say, it helps me to know how people connect with me. So I look forward to hearing from you. And then I sit back and I wait to see if they respond.
And then that's still being polite, it's still giving them the benefit of the doubt, and it's giving them a chance to explain rather than just, go away.
Just ignoring them, and sometimes people don't respond. And that tells me one or two things. Mm-hmm. If they don't respond, it says to me either one, they're not really using LinkedIn that much.
Yeah.
And maybe they were on their profile one day and my picture popped up as someone they might want to know and they clicked connect.
Yeah.
The other thing that it sometimes says to me is they just want to get numbers. They're just trying to increase their numbers. So if they don't respond, I don't connect. Yeah. And every once in a while, even if they do respond, I may not connect. I have to see what they say. One of the examples I give in one of my programs is a guy who responded and told me how he was now a single dad and he was raising a kid and he needed a mom. Mm-hmm. And my response was, luckily I don't get a lot of that. It doesn't happen that much on LinkedIn. Yeah. But I responded and just said, this is not a dating service.
No, I'm flattered, believe me, but no thank you.
So those are two common mistakes people make, is not having a professional photo and then not sending out a personalized invitation when they want to connect with somebody.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Make sure that you do that. And by the way, when you do that, so for example, when you're on LinkedIn and you see that column that pops up about people you may want to know, mm-hmm. don't click connect from there.
Oh, okay.
Go, because then many times it will just send out a generic invitation and not allow you to personalize it. Yeah. Go to the person's profile. Go to their profile first and then click on the connect button, and you should get a little dialog box that pops open.
Yeah.
And gives you the opportunity to say, oh, Adam is a colleague of mine. And then you could say, hey, Adam, we met on Facebook. I thought it would be time for us to connect on LinkedIn. What do you say? And it's just short and sweet, So many times when I've been speaking, I'll come back to my LinkedIn profile and people have sent me invitations. Yeah. And if I recognize that I just met them in the presentation I did, even if they sent me a generic invite, I accept it because I know I just met them.
Right.
But really important, even when you do know people, it's just nice to say, hey, we've been connected on other networks. Let's mm-hmm. connect here. What do you say?
Yeah. So, and I can see how that can confuse people, especially most people are probably familiar with Facebook first, before they come to LinkedIn. And so on Facebook, it's just a friend request. You click a button and that's it. There's no message there. So, and that part that you were talking about where it shows all these people you might possibly connect to, it's just this grid, right? And it's click to connect. So I can see how someone who's new to this would be confused by that and would say, oh yeah, just like Facebook.
Just click, yeah. And even on Facebook, just as an aside,
Yeah.
it's nice even when because a lot of us now get friend requests from somebody who's a, connection, but we may not really know that person either.
Yeah.
They might just be sending it because they saw that I liked something that you posted.
Right.
And they go, oh, well, that's a friend of Adam's. I want to be her friend too. And then I look and I go, okay, but who is that? And still, I do the similar thing. I go to their profile and look who they are.
Yep.
See, have they posted a lot? Are they even engaging?
Yeah.
If I go to their profile on LinkedIn or on Facebook and they haven't posted anything for 3 months, 6 months, a year, then I'm like, this person's really not doing all that much.
Right.
That's another thing to look at.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting close to time. I've got a bunch of questions here. I knew it'd be too much. Do you have anything specifically that you'd like to talk about on LinkedIn, recommendations or Pulse or anything like that?
Well, one thing I think it's important to make a differentiation about is you just mentioned recommendations.
Yes.
And those are different than endorsements.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a question that comes up a lot when I'm out there speaking about it. And people say, what is the difference?
Sure.
Well, an endorsement is just that little button that you push that says, I endorse you for internet marketing.
Yeah.
As opposed to a recommendation, which is really like a written testimonial. Mm-hmm. It's somebody saying, I've worked with Adam. He did a great job for me. Mm-hmm. He met deadlines. He worked within my budget. And those are the kinds of recommendations that I suggest people write, as opposed to just saying, Adam is great. Not that you're not great, but you want something really specific.
Yeah, something substantive.
Right, because the best comments come from your best customers. That's probably the best copywriting that is out there, is what people say about you when they praise, doing business with you. So recommendations are important to get. And another question that pops up is, well, how do I get them?
Yeah.
And I have a colleague who says, if you don't ASK, you don't GET.
I like that.
So you can go onto your profile and you can ask. There is a place to go and ask for recommendations. Mm-hmm. And again, personalize the request, because LinkedIn will give you a generic form that says, can I have a recommendation? I go in there and I say, I have a favor to ask.
Okay.
And I say something like, maybe you just heard me speak, and I'm collecting feedback on my speaking presentation. Would you take a moment and just simply respond to this LinkedIn recommendation and share your thoughts?
Sure.
And then that person can respond, and you can accept it and show it on your profile, or you can hide it depending on what it says. You can even ask for changes. You can even ask them for changes, which I've only done once or twice because maybe there was a typo in there.
Right.
And what I find is then, people took the time to write something, but they don't always take the time to go back and change the typo. So.
Right. Yeah, I think that's important to note, is that you don't have to accept these recommendations if they come off a little strange or something like that. You can reject them if you need to.
Yeah. So It's always nice to get.
Yes, it is. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah.
So do you any last thoughts on LinkedIn before we find out how to connect with you and get your book and whatnot?
I think one of the biggest things to remember about it is that it's a place to build and nurture relationships. So if you reach out to somebody and you connect with them, the next message you send them should not be, hey, buy my stuff.
Okay.
It's about building and nurturing. Maybe your next message to them is, here's a little bit more about what I do. And, is there a way I can help you? With your business, can I provide you with referrals? It's about nurturing that and having conversations and engagement.
Yeah.
So you want to try to do that. And then eventually you hope to take that offline and maybe have a phone call.
Right.
And so that you really start to build and nurture those relationships. So that's, to me, the most important thing, is to remember to nurture the relationships, have conversations, and engage with people.
Yes, I love it. Perfectly put. So how can people connect with you? How can they find you, and how can they get a copy of your book if they want one?
So they can connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay. I'm at linkedin.com/in/Debra Jason. That's DebraJason. And if you do that, make sure you send me a personal invitation telling me how you found me.
Mhm.
You can find me at my website. I have a couple of them. My copywriting website is rightdirection.com. That's WRITE, rightdirection.com. My speaking website is debrajason.com.
Okay.
And then you can get my book if you want an autographed copy of the book with a gold shoestring.
Oh, wow.
You can order it directly from Millionaire Marketing on a shoestringbudget.com.
Oh, okay.
And it's also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. However, you don't get it autographed there, and you don't get the cool little gold shoestring.
Yeah, I want the string.
So it's Millionaire Marketing on a shoestringbudget.com.
And
It's a
I'll
long
put all
URL,
this
but it's
stuff
easy to remember.
Yeah, that is easy to remember. I'll put all this stuff on the blog post, so all those links will be in there. You don't have to frantically type as she speaks. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Despite the Google and the internet fighting against us, we managed to prevail.
We managed to make it work.
Yes, we
Patience. Patience, sometimes comes through.
Yes, exactly.
Patience and persistence.
So I appreciate it again. And are you having another blab anytime soon? Do you have anything?
My next blab, I haven't scheduled it yet. It will be on April 15th.
Okay.
I'm waiting to hear from my guest. My guest, her name is Zsuzsa Novak, and she's a business strategist. So we're now in the final stages of, talking about and confirming what we're going to cover on the blab. And so it will be April 15th. I think the time we have down is 1 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 3 o'clock Eastern Time.
Yeah.
But April 15th. And people can go to blabwithdebra.com. That's the easiest way to find my blab channel.
Well, I'll put all that on the blog post, and you'll get that very soon. Thank you so much again for coming on. If nothing else, I'll see you at your next blab.
That sounds awesome. Well, thanks, Adam, for having me as your guest. It's been a pleasure to be here. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.